Hello and welcome back to another episode of Transport Fever 2. In this episode, we'll be taking a look at some areas that we haven't looked at in a while, fixing those up, and potentially detailing the iron and coal mines that we put in last episode. So I want to check in and do some quick updates on traffic around the map, and it seems like we've cleared Mesa up very nicely. We have almost no traffic coming in or out of the city anymore. However, as always, traffic is sort of a temporary thing, so it won't be this good forever, and I'm sure now that traffic's good, the city population is going to boom, and then traffic will get bad again. So there will always be issues popping up here and there with traffic, but thankfully we're able to clear up Mesa for the time being. I know in the future, probably the next time traffic gets bad, we'll probably want to move this bus stop off of our main road, since part of the reason our traffic was becoming so bad was we had a bunch of buses waiting and filling these intersections to turn into the bus station. So that is on the list, but we probably won't do that until the next traffic problem arises in Mesa, where then we'll probably be redoing portions of the city anyway. And over here in Downey, things are looking pretty good. Although the city has built this street, I wonder how it will deal with that. I think we'll leave it go for now, but if the city tries to expand more out this way and across this ledge, we might just have to destroy it, and hopefully that wouldn't create any issues. But next, moving on to San Jose, our roads are pretty clear now. This roundabout helps to keep things moving. We no longer have that huge line of cars coming from Winston-Salem, so I think our boats really helped out with that. And then within San Jose, it gets a little busy in this area, but it doesn't seem like it's as bad as it used to be, and it very much could still be clearing up. But regardless, it's still much better than it was in previous videos, so we'll take this as a win for now. However, something I just noticed, and something we oddly didn't get any warnings or notifications for, all of these trains are blocked for some reason. Okay, so I think what happened is this train is stopped waiting for this train to come in. However, this train needs to turn here, so none of these trains can move. And that's quite odd. I wonder... So it seems like we don't have alternate platforms set up here, which would almost immediately solve this issue. So let's see what that does. So that allows this train to start moving, and so that should clear up this intersection so this train can move, and so on. That's odd that that happened, and we didn't get a warning, so we'll have to keep an eye out and make sure things like this don't happen more often. But I believe all the other lines coming in here, besides the Downey line, these should all have an alternate platform in San Jose, so this doesn't happen again. So that seems to have clogged up all of our trains, almost all the way back to Jackson. So I wonder how long that's been like that. Hopefully things will go back to normal. I'm almost scared to see what our passenger numbers in Jackson look like at the moment. So yeah, our line out to Downey is getting pretty full, and so is our line out to San Jose, but it seems like we've been able to keep it manageable for a good portion. So hopefully that'll clear up as these trains start to continue moving around, and we can continue checking our areas of traffic. Now, while we're just moving around the map, it seems like we've had a lot of industries despawn and spawn back in here, so we get a lot of these weird roads going on. So let's just clean up this area. I think this area could be a really good spot for a distribution center, similar to how we have this one here, and this could serve Winston-Salem and San Jose. But I'm not too sure if we're ready to expand out this far just yet. I think I want to make sure that we're connected to 2 industries for every resource before we bring more cargo out this direction. Alright, so this is cleaned up and it looks a little better. There's some roads here that still don't really make sense, but if we ever build something out here, we'll come through and make it look good again. So anyway, moving on and checking other areas of traffic. We have Winston-Salem here, and we still have some pretty bad traffic coming through here. And taking a look at our bus line, we are moving some people, but these numbers really aren't good enough to justify anything really. I think maybe this just isn't really making much sense. I mean, we could probably sell half of these buses and they still probably wouldn't be too full. Because again, I think I said this before, I think we're just competing with our train line here, as these bus stops are already connected to each city's bus network, which is also connected to the train station. So realistically, they're taking the same trip whether they go by bus or by train, and I assume train is probably a little bit faster. As we can see here, this train's already accelerating faster than the buses are. So yeah, I think we're just pretty much creating competition with our own lines and sort of covering our own ground with that. However, I do think this is fixable because there's a good portion of areas in both cities that aren't covered by our bus network. So in Winston-Salem, all this over here, and a good portion on this side of the city is still not really connected to our buses, as this is pretty recent growth. And then the same pretty much goes for Albuquerque. We have all of this area in this side of the city. We have a bunch of places over here. And then there's probably a couple of spots that we weren't really able to reach in this area. And all that, again, is new growth for the city. So that's probably where a lot of this traffic is coming from. And once we expand our bus loops in each city, that should clear up a lot of these issues. Alright, so let's start with Albuquerque. I'm tempted to maybe do 2 lines now. The cities are starting to get big enough where we could have 2 separate loops in each city, but I think for these 2 cities we'll keep it as 1 loop for now. And of course, I think the next round that we do this, we will go a little bit farther and do 2 separate loops. But I think we'll have to... First we'll have to delete that station. I think we'll want to delete this one as well. And then this stop. And so what this will allow us to do is to come back and expand into these areas more. So we'll get a stop on this road going like so. And then we'll get another stop all the way out here. That'll cover all of that. While we're here, we'll fix these roads. So it should be good for this area. That makes sense as a loop. And then coming up sort of into this neighborhood, this covers most of this area. I think if we get 1 stop here, that covers a pretty large portion of all this. I'm not sure if we need another one there. So we don't really cover too many places in this area just because of how weird the roads get. So maybe we will delete these and we'll have 1 set of stops here and then another set of stops up this way. And that should cover everything. We don't really cover some of these buildings up here, but I think that's okay to leave for now. And it looks like this 1 stop still covers pretty much this whole area. I suppose if we wanted to make it a little bit better, we could probably switch it to this street. And then I think what we're going to do in this area is get rid of those stops. We're going to move those up a street to cover this area. Get these in here. We'll get another set of stops on this street to cover this side of the city. And then I think we can put this back almost exactly where it was. And then we almost need one in the middle of these streets, although it gets pretty messy in here. I think we'll try to do something like this, and then we can clean up these intersections around here. So this should cover everything we need now. We'll just have to manage the lines and fix our stops. So here, after this second one, we'll come over to there. After our fourth stop, we'll come to this one, and then to this one, up here, back down to this one. So then after our eighth stop, we'll move over to here, then to this one, add this one in, and I think that should be good. So yeah, this city has 13 stops, and so definitely next time we expand, we will most certainly probably break these up into a bunch of different loops so that it doesn't take the buses so long to just do one lap around the city, and that way it's more efficient for passengers to move around as well. But anyway, that should be Albuquerque all connected up. We will go through, add a good bit more buses for each line, and then we'll move on to Winston-Salem. So now over here in Winston-Salem, I believe it's pretty much just this area and this area that we need to expand our network to. So we'll pause here, and I think we'll get rid of this stop and this stop, and so we'll come through and figure out better ways to connect to those, and maybe even this one as well, as that's not really in the best spot. But anyway, starting over here, this stop covers up until this street, so we'll bring this over a bit more to here, and then from this street we'll come up to probably about here, or then I suppose we do have to snake back into the city. This is definitely going to be odd to cover in a single loop, but I suppose we'll come to this street, stop there, and then this comes out to this stop, which it's in a bit of an odd position because it covers a lot of ground, but it leaves a lot on the edges, because I'm tempted to put another stop here and another one over here, but this one covers a lot of that area. I think we might still just add one up here. I know we'll be sort of double coverage in this area with this stop, but I think it'll just be worth it to get the extra couple of destinations over here. We'll leave this one. We won't go all the way up here, I think. However, getting on one of these streets would definitely be beneficial, and I think if we can go, I suppose right here off of this main road, that would set us up in a pretty good spot, and that should cover everything that's not covered yet. So let's go through and fix some of the roads just to help our bus route make some more sense. I think we'll want this to go across there, so then we'll upgrade this road and this road. This isn't really part of our bus network, but I think doing that makes much more sense. And so I think we're ready to pretty much just reroute these bus lines yet again and get them on their way. Alright, so this should cover all of our stations. I think we'll come in here and edit these vehicles. Let's first, I think we'll replace them because I think we're still running some old twin coach buses, and we definitely have better things now. If we scroll through here, I think we might go with maybe these BK 670s, as those have pretty good capacity. We'll try them out, see what happens. Maybe we'll get 4 more buses as well, just to help move things around. And then we'll do the same thing on this other line. And so now hopefully we'll see things start clearing up on our road up here. Hopefully that's what it is. Hopefully it's just the traffic between Albuquerque and Winston-Salem, and our expanded bus networks should help out. But we will still continue to keep an eye on this area, and if needed, maybe we can look into another connection, potentially boat like we have between Winston-Salem and San Jose. I think maybe there's potential we can go the other way into Albuquerque, considering we have these hover boats which are pretty quick. So now that we've solved, or hopefully solved, those issues, let's just give a quick sweep over the map with our street traffic layer, just making sure we don't have anything that we can't see popping up. But we know about the center of San Jose. Over here we're trying to fix, so hopefully we'll see that. Here in Jackson we're having some issues maybe with this intersection, but I don't think it's cause for concern yet. It is heavily trafficked though, so we will want to keep an eye on it and probably fix it sometime soon. Stockton doesn't really have any traffic issues besides maybe this little center main road here. We might want to maybe upgrade this to 4 lanes soon, but I'm not sure if that's warranted yet. Sacramento, somehow we have tons of traffic coming into the city. This is something I maybe wasn't entirely prepared for, as it seems like we have tons of people trying to get up here. So this is something that needs fixed almost immediately. So let's figure out how we can do that. So I think maybe the first thing we need to do to fix this is get Sacramento a little bit more connected in some areas, as we end up with these really long roads that aren't connected anywhere else. That funnels a lot of traffic onto single roads. So I think everyone's trying to get to a point where they can all turn off at a certain point. So we got this road added, and now we'll sort of connect these 2 areas. Maybe we can connect these together somehow. It's just with such drastic elevation change, you sort of have to have these slanted, almost diagonal connections. But I mean, I suppose another option is we could just destroy a lot of this and then flatten out this area up here. So if we come through with our flatten tool, give that a good flatten real quick, and then smooth it back out, that'll give us slightly more level ground for the city to work in and build in. And so hopefully it won't be as drastic or crazy doing it that way. And sort of changing up some of our connections here seems to have maybe helped a little bit. Maybe if we can get these 2 roads to connect, that might be something. So although that's very steep, it is a connection. Let's just see if we can maybe go a little bit farther. I think what we had there was probably the best we were going to get. But that's not quite as terrible. We'll see if the city can build on that, but maybe that'll incentivize some people to come this way. I think another thing is definitely upgrading this road to be 4 lanes pretty much all the way through the city. That's going to get a little bit weird with this bus station here, but I don't think that bus station is too terribly popular, so hopefully that won't cause any traffic issues having that placed there. And so I think if this doesn't work, we're going to be stuck with a pretty interesting challenge, as the landscape around Sacramento really doesn't provide well for sort of an outer ring system or like a highway that comes through or around the city. So hopefully this works. I mean, you can sort of see we have like this community up here that's connected by a single road to the rest of Sacramento. I mean, this probably could also be solved with our buses yet again, as we only have 3 bus stops in the entire city. So let's just take a look here and see what we have going on around the city. So it looks like it's just one loop. We don't sort of have 2 loops going in opposite directions. So I think, honestly, we might just get rid of both of these stops and pretty much start from scratch. I think we'll try to keep it as one stop, or one loop still. So it'll be a single loop that goes around the city. But we'll put it in areas where it'll cover the most amount of ground. And so I think something like that would cover most of the city. So now we've set up all of our stations to hopefully work properly. And we'll completely overhaul the buses here as well. I think maybe we'll go with these BK 670 buses yet again. Or we do have some of these which aren't too expensive, and honestly, these New Flyer buses are a little bit cheaper than the other ones we were using, so that might be okay. We'll just double the amount of buses we had and get that going. Because I think a lot of this traffic is coming from Stockton or Modesto. Not too sure which one, but I'm sure if we check our destinations layer and we hit Sacramento, that might show us. Or maybe I'm doing this the wrong way. But yeah, it looks like a lot of people are coming in from Modesto up to Sacramento. So maybe the extra bus coverage in Sacramento will help push people to use the bus network in Modesto. Although, again, Modesto needs a new bus network, as it's expanded considerably and it's getting very close to our food processing plant now. I think maybe we might want to protect this with a collision tile, just so we don't get any weird things going on with buildings popping up here. But there we go, we have this whole area protected now. I think we'll try to bring these streets back to what they were. These sort of small, just asphalt roads. And I think the city actually built this road. I don't think we did that. Or maybe we did. I'm not too sure, but whatever it was, it didn't look too great. Alright, so I think we did actually have that there just so we had a road to come back here and park. But now this looks at least better than it did before. And this whole area should be protected now from the city of Modesto. I don't think we're going to get to redoing our bus network in Modesto as much as it's needed. I want to move on to some other things in this video and not just focus on adding bus stops to every city on the map. But hopefully in Sacramento that'll at least help, and we can sort of already see the tail end of that traffic starting to make its way up the hill as things get better and the cars start to disperse around the city. Stockton as well probably needs it, but again, we can't really do any of that more in this video. Moving on to other cities on the map, Birmingham seems to be doing very well. It has a pretty nice grid going on in this city, so I kind of like how this city has grown and filled out this corner of the map. It's quite nice, but luckily no traffic issues here, and everything seems to be going just fine. Continuing on to Santa Clarita, this all is doing well. Surprisingly, because I figured we'd probably have more traffic issues here, but the city seems to be handling itself just fine. Montgomery as well is doing pretty good, and I think for the most part that's all of our major areas of the map looked over. So we don't have any massive huge traffic jams just yet, which is a good thing. but I'm sure as the cities continue growing, something will pop up eventually. So next, as I mentioned before, I think we're going to detail this coal mine and the iron mine that we placed. So we'll get started on that. I'm not sure how much of this space we'll want the coal mine to take up, but I think we'll at least maybe get the other side of this road, and maybe we'll just hill up this area to make it look a little more mountainous or hilly for this coal mine, but we will blend it in and provide a bit of context before we just move on. Alright, so here is our coal industry. We have this area over here, which is sort of a secondary area of operations. We hilled up the area around the industry, so it fits in a little bit nicer. We have sort of like a storage loading area here where we're moving coal, pushing it around. We have some trucks. And then over here is the truck stop where all of it goes. So this is a nice little area. It's sort of like a much smaller coal mine than some of the other ones we've done, but I still think it looks pretty good for the area, and I'm happy to leave it off here. So now the next area we're going to do is this iron ore mine. And as we stated when we put this in here, I don't think there's really going to be much detailing to go on here, as I don't really want to destroy the mountainside here. We might add a few buildings sort of right next to the station here, but that really might be all that we do, just so we can preserve the landscape a little bit. But we'll get into this, and then we'll be back once this is all done up. Alright, so now here's our iron mine. Again, we didn't really do too much with it. We just have a few buildings, maybe some vehicles laying around, and then the storage area next to the truck station. And I think that pretty much completes the look here. From a distance it looks pretty good. I think up close it looks pretty good. I didn't think it really needed to be fenced off since it's in a pretty secluded area, so I think we're good with these details, and let's just double check and make sure everything else is running properly around here. So all of our truck rate lines are pretty well established here. They're all just over 800 where possible. Some of them go a little bit over just because it's hard to get it to be exact. But what's interesting is we're currently overloading this train station, and if we take a look here, we have a rate of 1700. So actually I think we might have done the math wrong when we set this up before. So because we have 4 lines of 800 being delivered to this train station, we actually need our train rate to be up to 2400. So let's just come through here and let's just manage and replace all these vehicles, and we'll get something that's a little bit quicker, a little bit more powerful, and carries just a bit more. Alright, so here's the train that we're going to be replacing it with. We have an engine that we've used before, this Dash 840BW, with some of the new gondola cars that we've unlocked in the most recent wave of vehicles, which I believe we unlocked in the year 2000. So these have a top speed of 99 miles an hour. I believe this capacity is slightly higher, and so we'll go with this, see what it does to our numbers, and I have a feeling we might, yeah, I think we're going to need to get some more trains going through here. Now, I was hesitant to add more cars to the end of these trains because of their power ratings on the way up, but I think because they'll be coming back uphill on an empty load, it shouldn't be too bad. So I think adding 2 more cars to each, that'll bring our numbers up just a bit more. And maybe just to get these numbers up yet again, that should be almost exactly where we need it to be, right at 2400. hopefully we have the space for all 6 trains on kind of a short line, but I think that will go over just fine. If we really need to, I suppose we can set an alternate line up here just to the other platform, and then we'll do the same thing down here. But here we can see our trains coming out. They're very new, very nice looking, and we can just come here and take a look at this one as it makes its way out and comes over the iron mine. So this should be this area completely done up now. We still have that area by the train station where maybe I want to fix up the unload stops just a bit. This area right here, I think maybe we'll organize the roads better, but I'm happy with leaving it as it is for now. As unrealistic as this U-turn might be for these trucks, I think it's just fine to leave as is, and we'll come back later and fix it whenever, or if we ever need to come back up here. So checking in on our goods factory that we've been waiting to get maxed out in efficiency, we can see we've finally reached that. It's at a solid 800 for its production, and I think we're finally overloading this train station. We do have this train coming in just now to pick up a load, but I think considering there's about 400 waiting here, we might need another train on here. So currently we're shipping out at a rate of 553, and if we look at our consumers, I think it might be, Montgomery's only taking 104 out of that. So I believe our number for this line should be around 700. And if we take a look here, we're at 550, which explains why this station is overloading just a bit. So I think if we just duplicate one of these trains, that'll get us up in the 800s range. So maybe we just need to edit these, and we'll take out maybe 2 boxcars on each. So that gets us down to a pretty comfortable number, and that'll also get goods moving a little more consistently because this line is so long. So lastly, before we end this episode off, I wanted to check in on this area where we had a bunch of traffic, and it does seem to be clearing up. I'm not sure if this is the tail end of it or the amount of traffic that we'll sort of end up with from here on out, but I think adding those new bus lines in each city definitely helped take some stress off of this road. We can see we still have a bit of a backup coming into Albuquerque, but maybe there's opportunities to branch off to get these people going to different areas of the city. So maybe we can branch off here and connect to this road, and then maybe, well, I guess we'll leave it like this for now and see if that helps or changes much. But it's very obvious that a lot of these cars are coming straight into the city, and Albuquerque doesn't really have a good main road or sort of road hierarchy set up. I suppose we could just quickly come through and extend this 4-lane road through the city, but of course we get some issues every now and then where hopefully we can just replace this road. So yeah, it doesn't really like the slope. We might have to redo this. But anyway, this gives us a nice big road that cuts through the city now, and hopefully that'll help with this traffic along with this new road connection. If not, we might just have to redo the layout of the city, but I'm excited to see how this shakes out, and hopefully we don't have to do much more. And then again, the Sacramento side, we do still have a little bit of traffic making its way up the hill. This could still be dispersing from earlier connections. Of course, we'll want to spread out our road intersections as the city keeps trying to rebuild that. But again, I think this could easily be solved when we redo Modesto's bus network. Same over here for Stockton, but I'm okay with leaving this how it is for now. So anyway, I think that's going to be all we're going to do in this video. So if you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions or feedback, leave a comment below. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.